Okay. Oh,
Well, I was telling you that.
all right. So the windrows. Sorry, let me go back. The windrows we're going to pull from the Ladybug panel under Visualize Weather Data under Ladybug Wind Rows. The import EPW node does have it does extract the information in a separate line item for hourly wind direction. So we're going to plug that into hourly wind direction, and then we're going to plug the wind speed into hourly wind speed. And do we need anything else from here? I don't think we do. Let's go into top view. And, okay, hang on a sec. Let's go to README and see what it's telling us. Windrows mesh. Run it to true. That's right, I forgot about that. So some of these nodes actually need to be like triggered to run. So I mentioned, what I was mentioning before is about this thing, how when this is on, and I change, there's my little thing, right? Yeah. And it's going to change the angle here. If I close this thing and then I change it, it's going to automatically run and give me a new window that I can work with. Some of them do not automatically run. This is an example of one that doesn't. If you go down to the bottom and you see the line item for run it, that is going to take a Boolean toggle. Okay, Booleans are what? Huh? It's like a binary function. So it's either a 0 and a 1, or a true and a false, or an on and an off. So when we plug in let's go to params, and let's go to input, let's go to Boolean toggle. Right now it's set to false, so it means this will not run. If I double click that, it's going to run, and it's going to calculate the windrows and then export that out onto, well, it won't export it. We're going to have to bake it. Okay, so now, this is what we have here. Oh, I didn't have it at the right center point. That's unfortunate. Let's redo that. I'm going to go to my center point, pull this back, and I'm going to plug my center point in. And it's still, the toggle is still set to true, so it's going to rerun and then relocate it so that it's on the center. That's going to continue to update every time I make a change to that node and it is set to true. If I set it to false, I can make changes all I want and it won't calculate until I'm ready for it. So now we've got a windrows. This windrows is actually pretty exceptional because it has relatively low wind speeds for the majority of the hours of the year. That's what this is measuring. Okay, it measures, there's a line that gets drawn, or a mesh that gets drawn for every single hour of the year. Okay, and what this is calculating is how many hours of the year are being, well, I guess it's the wind speed magnitude per hours of the year. So what you're seeing in blue is what you're seeing in blue that's shading out to red is the speed, but then you're also seeing the number of hours of the year that it's going to be at that particular speed, if that makes any sense. So let's kind of take a look at the dark blue, like this middle dark blue here. So what it's telling you is that all of that is a measure of 1.44 meters per second of wind speed, okay? So that's 1.44 meters per second of wind speed happening at this many hours throughout the year, okay? So you can change that value to change your analysis period if you'd like, but right now it's for the entire year. So what does this tell us, this windrows? Anybody?
There's not a lot of wind.
Well, there's not a lot of wind for, well, not necessarily. Yeah, there's not a strong magnitude of wind, that's for sure, because it's mostly at the blue color. Yes, but what else is significant about this diagram?
The direction of the wind.
Huh?
The direction of the wind.
The direction, yeah. For the vast majority of the year, or rather, you know, for a significant chunk of the year, the wind is coming from west, southwest, and west. So when I look at my project and I'm thinking about it from a design perspective, I'm looking at where the wind is coming from. The wind is going to be hitting my building from this angle. The wind is also going to be hitting my building from this angle. So I need to be aware of that as I'm designing that particular elevation or that side of the building. That's how this functions and helps us design. Okay? What questions do you have? Okay, that's a windrose. It can be exported precisely the same way as the sun path diagram, except you do not need to use make 2D because it is 2D. The only difference is you're going to also get meshes, and sometimes it gets a little bit messy with meshes. But we're not going to do any exporting yet, so we're going to do that sort of as a group a little bit later on. What questions do you have? Yes?
How do you know the month and
The month?
yeah,
Okay, so right now, this analysis is going to basically tell you the whole year unless you tell it what you want it to analyze throughout the year. So I kind of forget where we're gonna pull that specific information from. Scale, legend park, conditional statement. It's got to be the analysis period. I just forget what type of information it takes. Give me a sec. Let me ponder this for a moment, because I know I've done it before. All right, so the question on the floor is, how do you analyze the analysis period? In the sun path diagram, it actually basically asks you for the period that you want to look at, which is like, where is the sun at this particular time throughout the year. But we can produce a period to test as well. So we can test a certain hour of the day and how much wind is being generated, generally speaking, in that hour throughout the year, or during that day or during that month. And I'm not sure exactly what the subcategories are for this, and if it's, let's see what it's measuring here. It's saying that it's 1400 on April to the 31st of December. Okay, that's why. So this analysis period node is up under Analyze Weather Data, and it's under Ladybug Analysis Period. What's important about this is that it's going to ask you for boundary values. So right now it's showing X is the from month, and then it's saying this is the from day, and this is the from hour. Then it's going to ask you for the 2 month, 2 day, and 2 hour. So that means, like, I'm going to test from April 31st at 1400 to, let's say, May 31st, well, May 30th, at 1400. So we would plug all of these in. And then what this is testing is the winds that are coming from, basically, for the whole month of May. So in May, you can see that you're getting some really intense wind at this side of the building. Okay. What other questions do you have? Okay, cool. So let me figure out which other items we want to cover for this stuff for today. We'll move on.